Breaking news. Roongta, the CEO of Apna Paisa. We've also got here in studio Nikhil Pava, the founder of Medianama. Let's start off with first getting a sense of who SEBI is looking at when they try and put these guidelines in place. SEBI of course has regulations about manipulation already on different fronts. When they look at social media, how will they be bringing it in?
I think that's $1 million question, Kajori, because see, social media is an amoeba, and it will mutate and very tough to find out who is doing what. I mean, as a concept, it provides anonymity, and it requires real firepower to get behind that anonymity. It requires time. So and this is something that I think world over the regulators are still finding their feet on how to control social media. Like any other media, I think controlling manipulations is a tough task at best, and I think this new media is even more difficult to control. So I think I don't know exactly what is going to happen. And I think it would be very interesting to watch what exactly is done.
Right. Now, what Ash was saying there is that it's very difficult, Nikhil, to, in fact, in any case, in any circumstances, to make these definitions and try and crack down on manipulations. But also, it's even more complicated when it comes to social media, because it's a sense among a lot of people that news comes first on Twitter, and therefore they're watching Twitter very closely. But that doesn't necessarily have to mean manipulation at all.
Well, actually, it doesn't necessarily have to mean it's news. The point is, someone could be making a joke, and if the markets react to it, is that person liable for a joke? I don't think people should be held accountable for how people react to what they say. If there is insider information being released on Twitter or on Facebook or on any forum, SEBI has every right to investigate that, because that's legitimate insider information. But like for example, there was an eye report on CNN many years ago about Steve Jobs dying, and the Apple stock price crashed at that point in time. So markets do react to all sorts of speculation.
Right.
So I don't think you can hold people accountable for a joke as such.
But can you hold people accountable? Harsh, in these cases, you've got Nikhil there saying you can't hold people online accountable for statements they make. But if their statements, their tweets have consequences, is SEBI going to look at that case by case? Is that something that they would do?
So as I'm saying, this is like any other media, right? Are people accountable for what they say in a TV studio or what they write in a newspaper? And if they are accountable in that medium, there is no reason why they should not be accountable when they do it in the social media. So I think clearly the accountability from a theoretical perspective, there is no reason why it should be any less. The difficulty, as I mentioned, is that it's very easy to hide behind anonymity, and the disadvantage, or what I would say the defining feature of social media is that it is so easily aggregatable, and therefore spreading or the viral impact is much higher through this impact, because it actually accelerates the viral impact. And I think therefore, as a media, it is very susceptible to manipulation, and I think as I said, it is very susceptible to manipulation.
Very susceptible. Nikhil, do you agree? Do you feel that in a sense Twitter, partly because of the Twitter and other social networks, of course, partly because of the anonymity as well as the scope of it, has more susceptibility?
So isn't it your fault if you're trusting an anonymous source? You need to verify. No one's selling your stocks for you. You're selling your stock. So you need to do your homework and make sure that this is being verified by a media organization. This is why social media isn't like other mainstream media. This is just people saying random things. And you can't base a judgment on something as important as selling a stock on what some random person out of nowhere is saying.
Harsh, what about brokers? Could brokers use social media to artificially prop up the markets or push down the markets, and would they have to be harshly punished?
So I think that's an interesting question. See, I think any regulator will have much better control on the players that come within its regulation. So whether it is brokers or now they would have financial advisors who would come within the regulations. I think there is a move to have commentators come within those regulations
Right.
as well. I think any player who's regulated, obviously it is far
Sure.
easier to sort of police that
sorry,
on the
I
social
have to-
media as well.
I'm going to have to cut you off. Nikhil, we'll give you the last word. We're almost out of time.
So in 2011, SEBI had issued a set of guidelines where brokers were asked to ensure that their employees don't use social media, so they were asked to block social media, or they were asked to monitor the employees'
Right.
usage of social media. In those cases, they could have been held accountable for spreading misinformation in order to manipulate stocks. The intent needs to be identified.
Sure.
Is someone gaining financially from it or not?
Sure. Thank you so much, Roongta and Nikhil Pava there, talking about the SEBI guidelines which have been proposed, which are being put together on monitoring social media to see if there is manipulation of the stock markets. Now, the other big trending story